Thanks, everyone. Now, I'm not going to be here for very long, and I'm sure you've had enough summaries to fill your brains to the brim. But there were a few really important words that got mentioned a lot today that I want to talk about. The first really important word was transformation, and we heard this in the plenaries, and we heard it throughout a lot of the sessions. The fact that we need a systemic shift. All three of the plenary speakers this morning were talking in that kind of language, very strong language around the kinds of changes that need to happen in society, not just with how we manage diversity, but how we live and organize our economies. So I think that was incredibly important. And all three of them showed international and national leadership calling for us to change what we do. So that's a really strong message coming out. I think that the word ethics, right? When did ethics become unfashionable to talk about? Because I heard the word ethics today and I was like, wow, ethics, there's a word, I've not heard that for a while. And it shouldn't be the way, right? And there was a lot of other kind of resonance around this. A lot of people today talked about the right thing to do. So it's an ethical and a right thing to do to look after nature, to look after biodiversity, not just for our generation and us now, but for future generations, and enabling them to have the same opportunities that we've had. A lot of people talked about their childhoods, including all three of our plenary speakers this morning. All three of them talked about their childhoods and about things that they experienced as children that are either no longer there or that are vastly diminished, or things they experienced as children which made them care about nature and made them become the global leaders that they are now. So I think that there's a lot of people in the room today who have the ability to influence children and influence the way children are educated and influence the way that they get out and experience nature. And Tara talked about that really, really nicely. So I think that was also incredibly important. We heard words like cherish and love. And it's not often I'm used to going to scientific conferences, and it's not often that in scientific conferences, particularly in sessions around theoretical ecology, that we would use words like cherish and love. But these are incredibly powerful words that we need to use more when we're talking about nature and talking about its importance. We heard a lot of words around the implementation gap, and this is something that's very dear to my heart, as I think you found out yesterday, that we need to implement these plans. And Andrew just now talked very nicely about the number of plans, and we're incredibly good at planning, but we fall down in the implementation, I think. So we really need to do that. So there's a really nice phrase that I was reminded of by Mary Burke at one of the breaks, which was wisdom. Wisdom was mentioned by President Higgins. Wisdom is made up of knowledge and experience. Within this room, we have a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. So people in this room have massive experience in implementing biodiversity solutions, and we saw great examples of that in the video just now in this session. With knowledge and experience, we can achieve great things, and I think there are lots of opportunities to do that. And in fact, another quote from Mary Burke, do what you can, where you are, with what you've got. And that's something we can all take away and get out there and take away from this conference and think, yes, there is something I can do where I am now with what I've got now. That shouldn't prevent us from lobbying for more reach, more impact, more finance, more resources. But there are things that we can do very concretely right now. And I think that's really, really positive. Now, if I've learned nothing from TV and crime dramas, it's that if you want to solve something, you follow the money, right? So there were a lot of really interesting nuggets of information around biodiversity finance over the last couple of days, including the vast amounts of money that flows into conservation, going through agricultural schemes and through the Department of Agriculture and through European schemes linked to agriculture. And we really need to harness those finances and do a better job of making those schemes much more effective. And there's a huge opportunity with CAP to really get some, really effective biodiversity actions embedded in our own national eco schemes for the new CAP. And it's up to us, these people here in the room, to really push for those and to make sure that we're at those tables and that we are consulted as much as possible about really effective conservation actions that can be pulled into those schemes. And then finally, dialogue is hugely important. And I think we've all had amazing conversations here over the last 2 days. I just had a quick look at Twitter. My Twitter finger is very sore now, by the way. But I've just had a quick look at Twitter, and there was over 2,800 tweets on the hashtag BiodCon19. So there have been conversations between real humans in real rooms, and there have been conversations between people on Twitter, and conversations with the media and interviewing and all that kind of stuff. And I think we need to take these conversations out of this room, out of our little echo chambers in Twitter. It's a big echo chamber, but it's still an echo chamber. Take them out there and talk to people about this conference, about the solutions, about the things that we can do, and try and spread the energy and the positivity and the constructiveness that have come out over the last 2 days, and spread those out and keep this energy going. Try and keep the positive movement going. And I'm just going to finish there and say, implement the bloody plan.